Tech Tales 20, looking at some more time slips here for billable clients. And this is for Monday the 26th of April. Today is May 3rd on a Tuesday, so exactly 1 week ago is this time slip. This is the chiropractic office. The time was 3:54 to 6 p.m., 2 hours, 6 minutes. This is for Tracy's migration to the new computer. I connected remote to old and new computers, located correct installation for Kyocera drivers, and configured 2 devices and tested. Created a Gmail account and Microsoft account, applied Office 365 license, adjusted default setting for Word and Excel, located correct source, and installed Payroll Mate 2021. So there's a few things there. Now at this point in time, the new computer was at her desk and she had been using it through the day and reported a couple of issues. Her printing wasn't working right, and so that's where this reference is, located correct installation for Kyocera drivers and configured 2 devices. So there's a full-size Kyocera copy machine in the front office, and then in Tracy's office is a smaller multifunction Kyocera. So it can print, it can scan. And she reported that her scanning was not working. So I was figuring, okay, there's something wrong with scanning from this device. What we didn't get clear was that she doesn't scan from the Kyocera scanner that's in her private office. She walks down one hallway, down the second hallway, down the third hallway to get into the front office, and uses that copy machine to push a button to scan to her computer. I didn't know that because I believe the Kyocera people set that up for her. They also installed the drivers on her old computer. So the part about connecting remotely to her old computer, I was checking to see what is installed on this. Well, this is one of the problems that I suspect a lot of computer technicians get annoyed with the copy machine people, because they will come in and they will install their new machine and they'll go around to the computers and very thoughtfully, considerately, appreciated, install the drivers on the computers, but they don't leave any trace elements for me to install on a new computer. So I went back to my notes, found some references in the past about the local service provider that installs the Kyocera printers for this office. They have their own website and they provide a download source for their drivers from their website. So that's okay, not hard to get to. Fortunately, I had it in my notes, and so I went to their website, downloaded the software, put it in a place on the server where I can easily get to it, where I know that I keep drivers like that, so I can easily go find it in a future case when I'm installing for another computer. And I made a note in my section in OneNote on my computer for how that process goes. And a nice thing about their driver is you run this driver program, it goes out and looks on the network and finds any Kyocera devices and gives you the chance to configure them right from there for printing. Now, I was surprised when she told me that her scanning wasn't working, because I knew I had connected to the machine that was in her office and reconfigured the buttons on that machine so it would send the scan to her computer. And what she explained to me is that that never did work. So she just had given up on that. So I'm suspecting that the service technician for Kyocera wasn't able to get the scanning to work from that device, and they never let me take a crack at it. So she seemed really settled in her mind on using the copy machine in the front office. So I didn't I didn't argue it. I just went ahead and reconfigured that front office copy machine so it would send scans to her computer. Now I'm a little handicapped when I'm working after hours like this, when there's no one in the office and I'm connected remotely, because I can't put a piece of paper in the copy machine and hit the scan button to make sure that it shows up at her computer. But the configuration page for the scanner has a test button, and I found it pretty reliable. When I hit that button, it tries to send a message to the shared folder on that computer, and it worked. So it turns out, when I checked back with her later, that yes, that was working fine. So that was for the Kyocera. I'm not sure which way it's supposed to be pronounced. I would like to find out though. Some of you have gotten to know me to the point that you know that I like to pronounce things right. Somebody's probably going to look it up and give me guidance. I don't want to know how you pronounce it. I want to know what is the right way to pronounce it. Probably would be by playing a commercial that Kyocera puts out. And then the part about creating the Gmail account. So by this time I had spoken with her during the day on Monday about how to handle the Microsoft 365 license, because we had a Microsoft 365 home account utilizing the owner of the business email address. It's actually an email address that the whole office uses, but basically a primary master account that I've only used so far to install Microsoft Office on one other computer. So I had explained to her how it works, that I need to have a separate email account for her so that I could set up a Microsoft 365 license for her, so that when she goes into Microsoft Word, the recent files aren't going to show the recent files of that other staff member, because that just gets confusing and messy. And it's free to set up, of course, like a Gmail account for her, and it's free to share that Microsoft Home license to her. And I've already talked about the detail of that, so I'm not going to go into that further about licensing of that. And I had talked with her about what account name to use, and we had come up with a few options. She had determined she didn't want to use her personal email address, so I created a new Gmail address, and I was wanting to use it as the office position and the company name, and they were all used already, so I used a 3-letter acronym for the company and her first and last name. I think I already told you about that. So this was actually setting that up. I probably told you about that from my earlier time slip about my earlier conversation with her. And then I adjusted default settings for Word and Excel and applied the license on her computer. Later that becomes a problem. I'll talk about that in a following time slip. And then located the correct source and installed Payroll Mate 2021. So Payroll Mate keeps track of payroll in the office, and that is this office manager's job, one of her job duties. And every year they come up with a new edition. Well, they would send her an email with a link to install the new edition. Well, she doesn't know where to go now to install that. So I searched back through, now not her email account, because I just went to great pains to say that she didn't have an individual email account, but it was the office email account. I searched back through it to find the email for Payroll Mate. And I think part of how I found it was in the software tab in my Microsoft OneNote. I have a section for Payroll Mate. So I have some notations about when those get installed. I don't think I actually installed this one or this edition for her. I think she just clicked on the links to make that happen. So when I found that email, I was able to I don't think the links worked at that point because there's a limited amount of time. So I had to go to their website, download the correct edition, and I had in my records the license number, and I had to apply that in order to install it. And then it, I believe, adapts the data online. I asked her if she needed the old versions installed, because in some offices I have had to install the older versions, and I think basically what they were doing is they would sometimes need to go back and look at historical information. Apparently she doesn't have that need. So that was the end of that time slip, a 2 hour and 6 minute time slip, and we're gonna end that right here. So I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.